Okay, I'm in Architectural 2016. I'm just going to go over here and draw an exterior wall. Okay, this is what the program does automatically, what I've got here. And it's got a shed roof on it, and it's got siding on the walls and whatnot. Let's make it look more like your carport. Well, carport's going to be about 20 feet deep, so I'm going to change the dimension to 20. That way, and the width on it, well, we'll make it 20 by 20. Okay. Now we got a 20 foot by 20 foot box. Excuse me. Now, of course, the roof's here. Where's the roof tools? That's okay. We'll go to overview camera. Okay, the roofs are probably, I don't know. We'll go over to the build roof dialog. I can find it. There it is. And, okay, they're set to 812. Let's set the pitch to 012. And we get a flat roof. You saw what I did. I set the pitch to 012. Okay. And most of these softwares, when they ship and you first install them, you go to the build roof dialog. And auto rebuild roofs is checked. Well, now that I've got the roofs where I want them, I don't want that rebuilding again, so I'm going to uncheck that. Okay. Now, the next thing to make this look like a carport would be like over here under terrain. I want to create a terrain perimeter so that, you know, it's not sticking out of the ground with a foundation. Next thing, now I'm looking at your picture on my right-hand monitor. Well, I think we're going to make this wall here, the front wall. I have to do that in plan view and architectural. I'll make this front wall invisible. Or, okay, I'm going to make it into a, I don't see the way to do that. Okay, I'm just going to delete it. Okay, see, without our rebuild roofs off, then the roofs didn't disappear when I deleted that wall. And that's a key thing. Now I'm going to put in an invisible wall. Or let's, what I had in mind was a railing type wall across here. I'll show you why. We don't really want a railing, and this in space in here, I'm gonna name it garage. And these names are not just names, they're programming commands. So when I click OK, it'll get a concrete floor. Now, you can see this looks a little unreal. You're not going to have railing across here, but it's a starting point. We'll click on the railing and open this dialog box. And I'm going to reprogram it. We'll go to rail style and change it to post to beam. And of course, we don't want 4 posts. So I'm going to click on over here. Where is that? What am I looking for? I don't see it. Oh, I can go to newels and balusters and change the spacing here. I'm going to change the newels and balusters on the newel post to like 20 feet. Okay, that got rid of the post. I might want a center one, so let's change that to 132. Yeah, okay. Your deal has a post in the center, so we'll leave it that way. Now I don't want rails, so I'm going to turn the rail off. No rail. See, there's a checkbox for that. And then we click OK. So there's that. Now, I'm going to go to a different kind of view, an elevation camera view. And the point of this view here is to set the terrain. I'm going to double click on the terrain and open this dialog. And you can see that it was automatically set to 20 and 1/8 inches below the zero of the floor there, which is not going to work for me. So I'm going to uncheck automatic and set it to 6 inches. And I think what I want to do here is the floor in here, I'm going to set it lower. I'm going to put it at -6 inches so that it aligns with the terrain. Yeah, now you can drive into this thing. That's what I'm doing there. To make these walls look more like the walls in your picture, I'm going to reprogram those walls. Okay, so we'll open one of the walls and go to, oh, here we go. We'll go to define. And I'm gonna, here's the way this wall is defined. So we don't need drywall on the inside of a carport, so I'm gonna click there and delete that layer. Excuse me. Which now leaves siding on the outside and moisture wrap, sheathing, and then the framing. The outside siding, I want it a kind of a vertical wood-looking siding, so I'm going to click on this to pick something else. We'll see what's available. I think what I'll use is under decking, yeah. And let's look at plank. And that looks kind of like your picture, so we'll use that as the exterior layer. Now let's just take a look at the way those changes have added up so far. It already looks more like your picture. See, on the inside it's just showing framing. On the outside it's showing this stuff that I applied to it. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy, I think the way your carport is made is we're going to further change the wall. I'm going to make this skinnier and skinnier. We'll click on define. I'm going to get rid of this moisture wrap that's not in there, so we're going to delete that. I'm going to get rid of the sheathing. Select that and delete that. So now there's just framing and the siding. And I think I'll just set this for our purposes. I'm going to click on that and set the framing, quote unquote, to planking. That same material. Now let's see what that looks like. Yeah, okay, that looks more like your picture. If I wanted to put these cross members in here, I could put those in there with soffits. I'll show you how to do that. Go to Cabinet Tools, and there's a soffit tool. We'll click a soffit. I'm going to stretch it out like so it bumps into the walls. Now I'm going to make that soffit look like I think it's a 1x10. So we'll make the depth on it 3/4 of an inch. And the width I'm going to leave alone. The height we'll set at 6 inches, or excuse me, 8 inches for a 2x8. Yeah, and then it's just a matter of changing the material. We'll click on the soffit, open it, and go to materials, and let's put some sort of wood species on it for now, like that. I'll put some oak on it. Now it looks like an oak board, except that the grain's running the wrong way. So I'm going to click on this adjust material tool and adjust that material. I need that rotated 90 degrees. So we'll change the rotation on it 90 degrees. And see how now the grain runs this way. Okay. So I'm not going to do any more on that. Now those, you get the idea. I could add some more of those. I'm not going to. Now the last thing is that those 45-degree angles. How are we going to do those? Let me show you. I'm going to go into a elevation camera. Okay, there's the elevation camera. Now I'm going to go back to plan. I'm going to come back to the elevation camera and you'll see why later. I'm going to go over to cabinet tools again, if I can find them. There they are. And create a soffit right there, just in the camera view. There it is. Now I need to have this spinning point. You see the little pointing indicator? I need it to be pointing to the right or the left. And now I'm going to make this change its shape. We want a slope soffit. The sloping will have an angle in it. And the height, I'm not quite sure the height and the width. Now I'm going to go back to the, now you can see I've got a slanted thing there. And I'm going to change the dimensions on it until it looks like the kind of object that I need. Can you see that? So these posts are, we'll go to newels and balancers. Okay, they're set to 4.5 inches. So I want the thickness on this soffit set to 4.5 inches so it'll match. That would be the I guess it's a height. Let's see if 4.5 works on the height. Yeah, okay. Now we'll use the material eyedropper to put the material on it. And I got this elevation camera. It's the best type camera to use for this sort of work. And then we'll stick it over there against the. Okay, I'm gonna just drag it up until the upper edge of it disappears into the wood. There we go. See, I'm going to make it the same width as the cross beam there, so that although it doesn't hold exactly the right shape, part of that shape is covered up by the beam in which it's just disappearing into. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and copy it and reverse its direction. Okay, again, I'm not going to put one over here and here, but you get the idea. And that's a pretty close duplicate of what your picture shows. I'm sure you're not very patient with us here, and I hope you get a chance to see this because, you know, it's quite doable. Now, it's easy for me because I've used this software for 30 years, so it's not much of a challenge to me. For a new person figuring all this out, it can be pretty daunting, and I understand that. But anyway, thanks for watching, whoever watches this, and I wish you some success.